Now, I really kicked the hornet's nest on this one. A few months back, I made a video about the 5 blades that I would start over with in 2025. And I stated, of all the combat knives I've tested for over a decade here on YouTube, the one that I would pick up first and put back into rotation would have to be the Cold Steel Kobun. The Cold Steel Kobun, and immediately that started a firestorm in the comment section with many people stating that I was out of my mind because there's the Cold Steel RECON TANTO. Why on earth wouldn't you just go with that? There's obviously the SRK, the Navy SEALs use. Why wouldn't I use that? And then there, on the flip side, there were several of you who were like, hey man, I know exactly what you're talking about. I would choose that as well. So those who know. Well, in today's video, I'm going to share with you why I still stand behind that statement on this little blade, the unsung hero, the soldier that keeps trucking on after all these years in the knife world, what it brings to the table that those other knives don't, but also highlight a few drawbacks that it has, because nothing is perfect, and what I would love to see in a version 2.0 of a Kobun, Kobun 2.0. So we're gonna talk about all of that today. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Aaron. This is Gideonstactical. We are gonna have some fun. So let's dive on in. Now, I wanna make one thing crystal clear. When I say the word combat knife, I'm looking at this tool to be mainly 80% of the time used as a good utility knife against man-made materials. Going through rubber, going through cordage, going through paracord, cutting through nets, getting through material to remove it away, do different things like that. Some very basic bushcrafting, maybe a feather stick or so, and be able to make like a notch on a piece of wood or a spear point. So I could either, hammer it in the ground, maybe make something to help me with a tripwire, something along those lines is how I'm gonna use this tool 80% of the time. But then if it's APOC, end of the world, last ditch, everything has gone to crap, could this be used in an application because of its ergonomics, design, all those things, as a self-defense tool? Does it have that layout to also be able to do that? I am not claiming to be some hand-to-hand combat expert or think that like it's World War I and like everyone's doing hand-to-hand combat. That is the worst case scenario and hopefully never used. But if it had to be deployed that way, you got it. So that's the way that I look at any quote-unquote combat knife. And the reason that the Kobun checked so many boxes for me was really shocking, and it comes down to a few major aspects. One is the over 5 inches of blade length with the very thin 0.13, so just a hair over an eighth, stock thickness on a hollow grind with a flat saber tip. That combination is mind-boggling for what I just described to you. This blade eviscerates all man-made materials I have put up against it, the cordage, the hemp rope, rubber, it just eats it up. There's almost no pressure involved. There's not any sawing because of the hollow grind in the thin stock, but because of the flat tip, it's going to be able to stab and pierce and have some durability behind it. It's not frail and fragile in that way. And that is one of the major reasons why, even though the Cold Steel RECON TANTO is epic, I mean, it is phenomenal, it's 0.19, it's way thicker. It's way thicker. So it's close in performance, but not quite there. And the SRK with its flat grind means that yes, on a torquing, treating it like a crowbar, the SRK is gonna probably be the better blade than a Cold Steel Kobun. But this is going to require a lot more sawing. It is not as clean cutting and is going to take a lot more effort to go through the materials that I just stated. Will it pierce just as well as a Tanto? Probably, but that's about it. And if you're treating it like a crowbar, but if you actually want to slice, if you want it to remove things and go through rope and cordage and all the things very quickly, that is where this 1/8 of an inch hollow grind dominates. Absolutely dominates, and isn't a slouch with some of those basic bushcraft tasks, still being able to pound through pieces of wood, not bend or break. So the durability is still definitely there, but could get a feather stick or a notch without any issue, or a spear point if I had to. While comically still having a 90-degree spine to be able to throw sparks and start a fire, obviously drawing attention to yourself, but could be done in a pinch. And yes, the AUS 8A steel is not gonna hold its edge very long and you're gonna have to resharpen it frequently, but you can get it terrifyingly sharp with a very basic pocket sharpener, making it very good to resharpen out in the field and do basic field maintenance and keep the edge honed. So those attributes mean that when it comes to performance, that's the first reason why I really connect with this blade. It performs the way that I want a combat knife to perform. Now, you may expect other things out of your tool. Leave a comment below. I'd love to know what those things may be, or leave a comment if you feel like, yeah, first and foremost, it's kind of checking that same type of box. Now, there's another attribute that the Kobun brings to the table that many other knives do not, that people don't think about, that I want to highlight with you. But I want to give you guys a quick heads up about today's sponsor, which is LA Police Gear and their new Atlas BDU pants. And these are going to be sporting the classic BDU pocket shape combined with the stretch tech system found on all Atlas pants, and a high-end YKK zipper and the tack stud closure. I love that. Versus, you know, a button snap. I mean, I way prefer like the pass-through button versus a button snap. Just way more durable in that sense. And with a 65-35 polyester cotton ripstop fabric blend and 6 total pockets, including massive cargo pockets that easily can handle 3 full-size rifle mags and articulating knees, along with 7 belt loops that can easily accommodate a 2-inch belt. It just makes sense. If you are looking for a high value, high performing BDU pant, these are fitting true to size for me. They have a couple different color combinations coming in at 40 bucks currently. Can't recommend them enough. And so guys, I'm gonna have a link popping up here as well as in the description box below over to the LA Police Gear website, along with my exclusive 10% off promo code that you can apply not only to these Atlas BDU pants, but anything just about on their site. So regardless if you're looking for a good pair of cargo pants or something else completely different, they're an excellent resource to gear up with. So I invite you to go on over and check them out. Now, what about that second reason why I keep coming back to this blade first? Well, it has to do with its size and footprint. This thing, as you see it, is 6.5 ounces and is one of the slimmest, most compact fixed blades you're gonna find with this much reach. Having over 5 inches, 5 inches, whatever, of reach and being that lightweight. I mean, that's an ounce heavier than the Cold Steel Recon 1, but you have like moving mechanisms. I mean, it's a great blade, but you gotta deploy, you gotta close. This is fast and it's more robust because it's a fixed blade than a folder, and it's half the weight of the Recon TANTO. The Recon TANTO weighs 12, 13 ounces, and it's gonna be longer, it's gonna be broader. This thing is slim, sleek, and you're gonna carry it when it counts. If you have a big, bulky, heavy blade that carries a lot of space and takes up a lot of space on real estate on your person, you're less likely to actually carry it. And the knife itself is 5.5 ounces, same as that TANTO, but it's just, or the Recon 1. It's just so fast and so quick and nimble in the hand, and this gives me so many lashing options so that I could carry it on my chest rig, which I do often. This easily fits on my 511 2-banger and 4-bangers, which are my loaded, ready to go APOC packs. I can attach that right there to that molly. The handle's the only thing sticking up. I don't even know it's there. Boom, ready to rock and roll and to be deployed at a moment's notice. This thing is a monster, and I'm not gonna be putting that Recon TANTO on that rig because it weighs as much as like 2 of my mags almost, mag and a half or something. So this makes a lot more sense, but I get the durability of a fixed blade over, say, just a heavy duty folder like the Recon 1. So much so that one of the very first CIA spec ops guys who went into Afghanistan right after 9/11 carried this exact blade on Operation Jawbreaker. That is one of the first knives that went into combat in Afghanistan all those years ago. And I can see why. I can totally see why now, and it just totally blows me away. So, all of those attributes in combination with value. I paid like $45 for this thing. I'll have links, not only for this model, they have all sorts of different color combinations now. They're around 50 bucks or less. You can get serrated, non-serrated. You got so much to choose from, and it's kind of mind-boggling what the options are. So you could throw one on your battle belt, throw one on your, in your go bag, and you have like the same blade that you know it's gonna work You can get like 4 of them for 200 bucks, ready to rock and roll and cover all of your bases across your entire life. And you have a reliable blade that can get a lot done. Now, with that said, not perfect, man, not perfect. So what are the things that need to be changed and what would I like to see different? Well, the first is this belt clip. Belt clip sucks. It's not a good attachment point. It's too broad for a lot of molly, or just barely broad enough and you're constantly fighting with it. They should really come up with some option. It is Bladehq lock and ulti-clip compatible, so it's easy to adapt to actually be usable, but the factory mount is pretty useless unless you're basically tucking in your pants on a belt or maybe in your boot or something like that. Next to that is the critique of the handle. Most people definitely have, not most, I'll rephrase, certain people have an issue. I wear large size hands, 3 1/4 span. I have zero issues with the thinness of the handle. I'm willing to take that trade-off for all of the other attributes that we have and the benefit of the thinner footprint. Whereas again, the RECON TANTO just has a way fatter, beefier handle. Better for long cuts and using it for an extended period of time, or if you have huge hands. I wear large size gloves, I think I said. But this is no problem and just feels like a pocket knife with full real estate. I'm not gonna see that much of a difference in thickness compared to a RECON 1. So with that said, I understand that that could be a little bit of an issue. And finally, blade shapes, currently only in Tanto, unless you want to go with the limited edition Lynn Thompson. They only made a limited amount of these drop points. It is amazing S35VN steel. Value is getting up there. You know, they're like 150 sometimes, 100 to 150. Those will be included in the links as well if they're still available. Eventually they will be gone, but it would be great to have 2 options, a Tanto for those who want it and a drop point like this. Great sweeping capability. There could be a lot more versatility in this that people would see over just a dedicated Tanto. So if they brought that in to full production, keeping the hollow grinds, absolutely must keep the hollow grinds. That adds to the slicing. If they put sabers on them, then it becomes less geometry-wise preferred over, say, the SRK or the RECON TANTO design. So that would be one attribute, giving us multiple blade shape options to choose from. And then the final piece of the puzzle is to take the idea of the handle on this Kyoto. I paid Kyoto too, 20 bucks I think for this. It's a fun little piece. I'll do a video eventually on it. What they did was kind of take the idea of the RECON TANTO, or excuse me, the Kobun, but they took the idea of what we know from like katana wraps, took that imprint, so keeping the overall handle thin, but giving you these little ribs right here to fill out a little bit and give you a little bit more texture to use while you're pulling and slicing and cutting. Not only does it just look sick, but it actually really works while still keeping the overall print pretty low. So if they copied that handle onto this blade, let's go. Let's go. And I think some people who don't like how thin it is would enjoy the slight beef, but still not being as hefty as the SRK and RECON TANTO series. So that would be my 2.0 version of the Kobun. Don't know if we'll ever see it. Maybe we will. Would love to see them integrate some of that stuff in some future rendition of the design, but still keeping a high value. AUS 8, you know, something like that. 50, 60 bucks, let's go. As it stands, guys, this thing is still a phenomenal blade, highly recommended, cannot recommend it enough. It is an excellent tool, and I want to know from you guys how you use it, if you do, and how does it perform for you? What do you like, maybe what you don't? I had a story when I did that other video of a guy, he said, I think he was in South Africa, and he goes on safari, and this is his EDC knife. The Kobun is like his EDC. He does food prep with it and just always has it on him when he's walking around the bush, and I was like, dude, that is sick. Let's go. So, guys, that's me. That's my mileage on the cold steel Kobun. Thanks for hanging with me today, and I hope it's answered some questions that you may have had about the design. If you're new, again, I invite you to subscribe, check out the other video, putting up videos like this every single week. Always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. See you out there.